When the dust of war finally settled, the Mongol Empire, once feared across continents, stood at the crossroads. They had conquered lands from China to Syria, burned libraries, destroyed cities, and silenced scholars. But deep within their hearts, a question began to rise: what was the purpose of all this power? But for the first time, Mongols' leaders looked behind conquest. They began searching for peace, not through victory, but through truth. And in that search, they found Islam. The true transformation began with one man, Ghazan Khan. In 1295, he ascended the throne of the Al Khanate, inheriting the vast Persian lands once soaked in Mongol conquest. But unlike his ancestors, Ghazan's eyes were not fixed on dominion. He was fascinated by the Muslims of Persia, their discipline, their prayer, their unity, and their knowledge. After years of spiritual reflection, Ghazan accepted Islam. He declared publicity: there is no God but Allah, and Muhammad Sallallahu is his messenger. With this single statement, an empire shifted direction. Mosques that once lay ruins were rebuilt. Azans began echoing across Tabriz for the first time. The Mongol banners flew beside the crescent of Islam. But Ghazan's faith was not a political move, it was personally journey guided by the scholars. Sadr al-Din al-Khafi, the wise teacher, taught him the Quran, the Sunnah, and the justice of the Hazrat Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Ghazan fasted, prayed, and even learned Arabic to understand the Quran directly. He rebuilt mosques, founded madrasas, and replaced Mongol laws with Sharia. He would often say to his court, a ruler who does not rule with justice rules with destruction. The Mongol Empire, once known for its wrath, began to heal through knowledge and worship. The soldiers who had once thundered across Asia now lined up for the prayer. Their swords rested beside them as they bowed their heads to the ground. The same hands that had carried fire now carried prayer beads. The Mongol cavalry, once feared as the horsemen of apocalypse, had become protectors of faith. They guarded caravans of pilgrims, defended scholars on their travels, and ensured peace in the city they had once burned. It was one of the greatest moral transformations in human history, from destroyers to defenders. Under the Mongol rulers, Islamic civilization flourished once again. Tabriz, Shiraz, and Maragha became center of science, art, and culture. They built observatories, funded libraries, and revived Persian and Arabic scholarships. Historians wrote new books, architects designed breathtaking mosques, and scholars debated under royal patronage. It was as if the Mongols had returned everything they once destroyed. But now, with devotion, Yavin, European travelers described the Ilkhanate as a land of peace and beauty. Knowledge had conquered where the swords once ruled. The Mongols' acceptance of Islam didn't stop at Persia. It spread east to Central Asia, the steppes of Mongolia, and even deep into China. Muslim merchants and scholars traveled freely, carrying the Quran and the message of peace. In the tents of nomads, mosques began to rise in their songs. Verses of Quran were recited. Even in faraway lands, Mongol princesses and generals embraced Islam. A once fractured world began to connect under the banner of Tawheed, the oneness of God. Power can conquer nations, but only faith can conquer the heart. Mongols learned that Islam was not just a religion, it was a way of life that demanded justice, mercy, and humility. They found peace not through fear but through submission to Allah. From the Khan's palace, the Stafford tents, the Azan united them all. They learned to replace vigilance with forgiveness, arrogance with prayer, and chaos with order. The once relentless empire had discovered what no sword could give: inner peace. As generations passed, the descendants of these Mongol rulers became pillars of Islamic power. Timur the Great, Babur of the Mughal Empire, all carried the legacy of Islamic deep with their bloodlines. Their architecture, art, and leadership shaped centuries of Muslim history. From Samarkand to Delhi, their influence brought beauty, order, and unity. The Mongols didn't just accept Islam, they carried it forward as defenders of the faith they once opposed. Historians still call it one of the greatest miracles of history. The empire that once destroyed Baghdad became one of Islam's greatest shields. The Quran had promised, indeed, Allah guides whom He wills, and He guided the most powerful warriors on earth, not by force but by faith. The Mongols entered the world as conquerors but left it as believers. Their story teaches us something timeless. No one is beyond Allah's mercy. The hardest hearts can soften, and the greatest enemies can become the strongest believers. The Mongols came seeking power but found purpose. They conquered lands but were themselves conquered by faith. Their final victory was not written on battlefield, it was written in their hearts.